Hey, good afternoon. Let me see, is my audio up? Yes, I think my audio. Can you please let me know if you hear my audio clearly?
Yes, the audio is clear, but the slide is not showing properly.
How about now?
It's okay, sir.
All right, thank you so much. So I have missed being here for the last two episodes of the lunch hour, and it's exciting to be back. For those who are coming in for the first time, my name is Paul Erubami. I'm the CEO and head of faculty of the Max-Migold Training Center. And we do these lunch hour sessions every Thursday to share some uh, key insights, some training highlights of important topics to get us to sharpen our knives, our tools for the work that we do as facility managers. And as much as possible, we have made these sessions to be as broad-based as possible. Facility management is a very um, broad, multidisciplinary profession. And so most people from different walks of life can easily transition into facility management. And for us as facility managers, that's a great thing because the opportunity is huge and we can accommodate everybody. And also, the things we deliver at work are mostly, people-oriented solutions to help organizations and people to achieve their desired results. And so, the broad range of services, the broad range of interactions, the large number of stakeholders we have to deal with requires that we understand technical, managerial, and soft skills, as people-centric skills to effectively manage our jobs. And today I'm going into something that's really, really interesting. Many organizations tend to see facility management as something that you take on as an accessory, something you just add on to as you move on with your business. By the time you're done with this session, you'll realize that your business really cannot thrive, cannot progress, cannot move on without facility management. And so as facility managers, what does this mean? The ability to understand and be able to comprehend and demonstrate strategic value from the things you do, the tips and tricks that you can implement to start showing exactly how valuable your profession is to the built environment and to all workplaces will come out very strongly into this session. As we approach the session, I would like to just remind us that this week, the famed August D-Day came on Monday uh, when we had the free open orientation of the FMMC Mastercraft, Facility Management Mastercraft Diploma Batch 25 that held on Monday, the 11th. This session has opened this batch, and the training classes started from yesterday. There's another class going to hold on Friday. Yesterday, we did FM Foundations. It's also recorded and saved in the learning management system for all those who are yet to join the class. You can still join now. The admissions will remain open for the next couple of weeks till the end of August. And the earlier the better, but you won't have missed anything. By the end of August, we won't be able to admit you into this batch anymore. So you'll be looking towards joining the 2026 batch that will be announcing soon. Okay, so that's where we are. We encourage you to invite your friends, colleagues, and co-workers, and those you think fondly of to, connect now and join us as we get on this very interesting topic. Okay, so the topic we have today is the invisible engine, how facility management powers business success, including electrical system reliability. We're going to use some of these important examples to show how FM, makes it possible for the organization to run on a day-to-day basis. Many of us can see twin offices, working lights, smooth operations. Not many realize the strategic role facility managers play behind the scenes. In today's session, we'll spotlight how FM silently drives efficiency, safety, cost savings, and employee satisfaction, becoming the invisible engine of business success. This session is not just for the FM practitioner, it's also for the business owner, the operations managers and directors, the sales and marketing managers and directors, the service provider, the core business and strategic drivers of organizations. It's for both parties because it helps us understand exactly how to position FM to do better as facility management practitioners, how to take advantage of the benefits that we can get from facility management if practiced correctly. Okay, because at the end of the day, if you don't practice facility management correctly using professionals who have been trained, then it appears as if you're just doing reactive repairs and maintenance, which is just a tiny little bit of facility management and will not give you any strategic advantage because you'll be mostly reactive, not proactive in moving ahead with achievement of your goals. Okay. Yeah, so before I head straight into it, I would like to make one more very big announcement. On the 30th of August, 2025, we have the Facility Innovations and Leadership Summit organized by the Alumni Association of the FMMC Diploma. This is the professional body that have spun out of the FM Mastercraft Diploma, a network like no other, the largest facility management professional group in the continent of Africa, cohesive, determined, and always bringing up, strategic new initiatives to foster growth, inclusivity, and expansion of the FM industry. So if you're in Lagos or anywhere in the country, you can make it down to Lagos. The venue is Necker House, Alausa, Ikeja, Lagos. It's a day you can't miss. And this is throwing the doors open to everyone who have the built environment at heart, real estate, property, facility management, project construction, investors, and providers of services to the built environment, material suppliers, contractors, and the likes. You're all invited to come in with your teams to learn and interact and network as we take on this new endeavor called the Facility Innovations and Leadership Summit. And this is going to, this is Summit 1.0, and it's going to run on an ongoing basis. So it's something you don't want to miss. So mark your calendar, Necker House on the 30th of August, and that event is locked in. We're all excited and looking forward to the event. Every arrangement is in place to have one of the biggest FM events in Africa being held and organized by one of the, in fact, the biggest FM body, FM Professional Association in Africa, counting almost 900 active members who are on a daily basis interacting and networking to make a difference for the industry and make a difference for their careers. And back to the earlier announcement about the FMMC 25 that just started, if you are thinking of facility management, if you have been in facility management, if you're thinking of career growth opportunities, this is for you. Go to maxmigold.com/promo and register for the FM Mastercraft Diploma. It's still open to the 30th of August. Okay. Okay, so what are the objectives of today's participants who are here? By the way, we are here on LinkedIn, on Zoom, on YouTube, on Facebook. You can join any of our channels and you'll be live with me as we speak. Okay. You can also drop your comments, your questions in any of the platforms, including our training platforms on Telegram and WhatsApp, as well as our Facebook group. So we have, we are everywhere. So if you just need to reach out, ask a question, make a comment, please join any of these groups and, get in the chat box of whatever platform you are joining me from today. So after completing this course that we're going to have in the next hour, you should be able to understand the strategic role of electrical systems, maintenance, reliability, of operational reliability, basically, and how these help businesses to sustain operations, build brand reputation, improve profitability through reduced downtime, improve productivity and customer satisfaction. You should be able to get a sense of how to apply risk-based asset management approaches to prioritize maintenance efforts for maximum operational and financial impact. And also we'll be talking about safety, compliance, and sustainability, how this can be built into what we do to remove the shocks that often prevent organizations from achieving its goals. And finally, everything we do now has technology advantage. There are always new technologies and data analytics that we can use to transform the mundane things we do, the maintenance and operations that we do, transform them from a cost center into a driver of competitive advantage. Okay, so on the top, why do we have our organizations, whether it's a business, for-profit business, a not-for-profit business, a social impact organization, a religious organization, non-governmental organization? There's always that reason why it was created. There's a segment of the population that it targets. There's a value that it has, that it creates, that it tends to share or give, and in exchange gets that reward, whether in terms of monetary rewards, in terms of reputational improvement, in terms of societal rank, or whatever that exchange of value is. Every organization is founded on that principle of profitability. Profitability is not just monetary profitability. That's what we're talking about, the triple bottom line. There is economic profitability, which is the economic bottom line, right? And then beyond that, you now have social impact on people. So both businesses that make money and those that don't make money or don't see money as their bottom line also have to calculate their impact on people. So, and those people could be their customers, their stakeholders, their communities, or even the regulators. That's the social impact, or the social bottom line. And then you now have the environmental bottom line. The environmental bottom line is a calculation of the impacts. Every time you run an activity in life, on the earth, in any space, you are impacting the environment either positively or negatively. The net balance of these two, both negative and positive from all of your activities, is what creates your environmental bottom line. So every organization will have this bottom line. Now, when organizations are created, they have the plan, they have a strategy, and then they move on to start executing. One of the first things that will come to the mind of any inventor, visionary, entrepreneur, anybody that's setting out to start something new and build something in the world is, I have a vision. I need people of like mind. So people, that's the first thing. I need to employ, engage, partner, and bring people together. And then the second thing that hits is, oh, I need a space, some kind of space, some kind of environment where these activities will take place, right? So by the time you put in your capital and material resources, the people, you have created, some kind of ecosystem, environment, spaces. And whether this business is going to be digital, in the virtual realm, or going to be in halls, manufacturing, retail, physical contact, it still requires that human beings exist in some space to carry out some activities. That is the critical position that facility managers play. We are the custodians of the built environment. So it doesn't matter whether you're building spaces, leasing, renting, or just work from home. Everybody's home become a part of your organization because they are using it to work for the organization. Facility management has come to stay. And so it's key to understand how facility management affects productivity of the individual, of the organization, profitability of the organization, as well as brand reputation. Every organization's buildings, the ambience within their spaces, tell a story of what kind of organization they are. If you go to a shop or the open market to shop, you tend to behave like the environment. If it's RAS, local, disorganized, dirty, everybody just, not properly dressed, looking, ragged. You too will also start, they'll tell you the price of something. You say, no, I can't pay. Start haggling, for example, right? You start doubting the quality. Is this the original one? Or, the reputation of the organization is being built by what you observe, the ambience. If you go to another environment, maybe a restaurant, the same tomatoes and onions and pepper and oil that was procured from that, rust looking open market has now been transformed into meals similar to the ones you get in Mama Put elsewhere under the tree or somebody carries on the truck, but now packaged in an environment that is very appealing, very pleasing, very calm, very cool, scented, very comfortable. The same meal that you could have eaten with the amala, you would have eaten for maybe 1,500 or 2,000 naira with the mama puts down the road. You will probably spend 25,000 naira eating it in this place. The same food. Of course, you say, "Oh, there is so much more in terms of quality." But when you think about the biggest impact to that quality is the ambience, is the environment. You go to a shop and you want to buy things, you just see the price tag. You just see the price tag. They give you their menu or their list of prices. You just see the price, and then you decide whether you want to buy or you don't want to buy. In fact, you're almost too embarrassed not to buy because you feel, this place is worth it. It's all impact of facility management on the brand. So if you are the facility manager in charge of a supermarket chain, the retail chain, for example, and you can't think about how this is a strategic value you are giving to the organization, you really can't do things to make a difference for the organization. So investment in scented candles, for example, diffusers, they sound like it's going to cost money, but you see, that's that cool ambience, the kind of lighting, the kind of coolness you've created, the design impact of those little extras that you have done automatically can lead to a premium pricing for your services, can lead to prestigious, highly esteemed individuals in the society coming to feel like this is the kind of place they can be because that's your target. So do not think that facility management is just maintenance and repairs. We don't have any strategic impacts. I'll tell you, one quick illustration. Let's say you didn't even know about facility management, and you typically just go to the market, open markets, to buy bread. In this open market store, there are different types of bread. And you'll find bread of 2,000 naira and bread of 5,000 naira having the same weight, the same color, looking alike in label, just different names, having the same shape and size. And the thoughts in your mind would be, why would somebody want to sell this bread for 5,000 naira? So looking at all of the bread out there, you probably won't make any fuss about it. Just buy the one of 2,000 and you move on. It sounds foolish for someone to try to sell bread at 5,000. If peradventure you had the need to buy in bulk, maybe you had a picnic and you had to buy bulk to make sandwiches for a group of people, and you were pointed to these bakeries, to go and buy bulk. And it's better to buy bulk, you get it cheaper buying for the bakery. And so you go to these bakeries. And in one of the bakery, you find very immaculately white tables, clean dressed bakers rolling their stuff through some glazed, white lit environments. And you're wondering, this is amazing, fantastic operation. All the equipment are glistening. The place where you sat down to wait for your turn to talk to the receptionist, the reception is in top impeccable shape. As you walked into the compound, you saw manicured grass, well trimmed flowers, and you see water sprinklers, and this is just so cool and comfortable. And you find out that is the place where they sell the 5,000 naira bread from. That's where they make this 5,000 naira bread. You go to the second bakery, and you have to, jump some gutters that were not covered. Running around, cockroaches are all over the place. Some guys are sweating with short knickers, pants, in one corner, and smoke is oozing out from the oven all over the place, dust all over, and then you manage to get into to see what's going on. If you were to look at those breads next time, would you look at them as the same? Will you see them as the same? Will you think that, oh, bread is bread? In fact, if you can afford it, you will switch from 2,000 naira bread to 5,000 naira bread, because in your mind, you are thinking, if I keep eating the 2,000 naira bread, when will I find a cockroach inside? Because that environment is horrible. I know they're probably baking their sweat into this thing right now, and I'm not saying it, but if I think about what I saw, I probably wouldn't eat this bread. All kinds of thoughts run through your mind. You even prefer to eat less bread that you can afford, from the 5,000 one than to keep buying the 2,000 naira bread. Those kind of things has set the two organizations up. What did you observe was the difference? Facility management, power provision, cleanliness of the environment, landscaping, uh, you know, aesthetically pleasing and design environment, good processes, equipment that are maintained and are running smoothly, no noise, no smoke, no dust. Right. It's all facility management. So when you optimize workplace efficiency, ensuring systems and spaces support seamless operations, you reduce operational costs through preventive maintenance strategy and efficient practices, energy practices that are efficient, that are not wasteful. And then you have a life cycle mindset approach to how assets are managed, how you procure assets, how you maintain them through their life cycle, how you plan for their replacement. Of course, the repairs and the upgrades and overhauls you do before their replacements, and ensuring that everything works clockwork, ensuring that the equipment are always available. They are not something that will be available today and then the next day they are no longer available. Something is wrong. You have to start fixing or knocking things around to get something to work, right? So those are the kind of things we're talking about. You are creating not just a process or a system that works, you are also building the reputation of the organization. You are increasing its ability to charge a premium. You are increasing its ability to reach its audience, attracts its customers, the kind of customers it deserves or it wants, and then you are boosting its reputation. And as well, you are removing compliance and safety risk from the organization, because one mistake and all operations could stop if you're not planning properly. Okay. So beyond the strategic elevation of the organization through operational efficiency, strategic planning, focus on reputation, focus on reliability, life cycle approaches to getting things done, so that there's a seamless operation. You must also be conscious of what are the things that can happen like this and the operations will be stalled. Because you could go from there to there, which is smooth sailing to stop abruptly. Okay. So you need to have risk management and business continuity systems, processes, plans, policies in place for your organization. Not many people, not many people think negatively or deliberately think about what can go wrong. We always have this God forbid mentality. If something is going well for you, just ride on it. You just keep, gliding. And when something suddenly happens, you start thinking, oh, why did this happen? It's nobody's fault. Nothing could have been done about it. And so that's not the approach. The approach is, while it is sailing smoothly, working seamlessly, you pull yourself into a corner and ask, how many bad things can happen? What are the risks? And if you start by just looking at the simple compliance things around you, have you gotten your fire certification, your sewage and environmental certification, your elevator certification? Have you gotten your audits done for your health and safety? Have you done your ambience and energy audits? Have you done your performance reviews? Do you have a reporting mechanism in place? You see, some of these things are just the basics. Have you obtained the licenses for land use charge, for having a mini depot of diesel in your site, and so on and so forth? So many things that already they are risking themselves, because if you do not fulfill those basic compliance that are already expected or required by law, any of these agencies who are enforcing can come any day and put a seal. So I'm not even talking about the breakdowns. Those ones are higher order considerations. At the basic level, compliance. Before you now start saying, okay, fine, what can happen with my operations? Financial issues, machine sudden failure, power disruptions, equipment failures, people inactions or wrong actions, and so on and so forth. Can you envisage? Can you play the devil's advocate sufficiently to anticipate as much as possible? This, ladies and gentlemen, is a strategic, higher order level of thinking. It helps you to elevate yourself from the basic operational excellence you have created to a superior level of scenario analysis and planning for eventualities, such that you are never caught unawares. Nothing becomes a surprise for you. Nothing when it happens. When shocks hit your industry, hit your markets, affect other organizations around you, you will be resilient because first, you focus on operational excellence. You built your organization strategically. You supported the organization to start being that, darling of the industry or the customers it deserves. And then you moved on to start thinking of the basic compliance that needs to be in place, licenses, permits, and all of those compliance. You sorted all of those out. And then you moved up to thinking, what else? What can go wrong? At this level, you're operating at the peak of strategy. You are no longer the one that is being reminded to do your preventive maintenance activities or to have your schedules in place and to track them, because those ones are operating at the first level. They're no longer the one that will be giving penalties and warning letters from government agencies. No, that's at the second level. You have stabilized all of those. You have built in a strategy. Okay, now you are now at the abnormal level, a higher level of strategy that makes you think, what are the risks? Sometimes even the things and the plans you put in place at these previous two levels of operational excellence and compliance can also have, side effects that you capture in your risk, in addition to things that can affect you from outside. So both internal risk and external risk factors must be considered. What are you perceived as a facility manager? Most facility managers, um, the complaint you hear from facility managers mostly is that we are not given enough money to spend. Always, we're not given enough money. We are not allowed to spend as much as we want. That's why we're not doing much. That's why we're not doing enough. If we're just given free hand to spend always, you can imagine how far we can go. But the truth is that the problem we have is that we have not been able to demonstrate measurable impact of our work on the productivity, efficiency, and profitability of the organization. You bought electricity, you bought diesel, you cleaned the office, you got water, you did maintenance. Can you take those activities you have performed, analyze them, and define what their impact has been on the organization? Can you take a time to look at them and not just say, I've done the water, I've done the maintenance? No. You must look deeply and say, the things I do are what? Most of us know how to do the things we do. So we know how and we know what. But we often miss out on the most important consideration, which is why. Why did I clean? Spending 2 million this month cleaning. It's not because I was told to clean. It's because I want to support the health of my workers, of the organization's productive workers. I want to support the reputation, the ambience, the image of my organization. These are very high level considerations. I want to avoid a breakout of illnesses and accidents that can impede work. Now, if I can see why I am doing what I'm doing, I can now begin to measure and say, because I have done this, this is how much contribution I've done to this and this and this. I can ask my users, how do you feel? When you come to work, do you feel a sense of ABC? How does the cleaning you experience contribute to your feeling of that? Scale, numbers, measures. By the time I get those data in, as I continue providing this cleaning service and I keep doing this analysis, what am I doing? I am acquiring data that shows that my FM activities are aligning with the organization's core business goals. Because the people who I'm serving, being healthy and productive, are feeding results to the organization. I can tie their health and well-being to the results the organization is achieving. And then I can use my understanding of the organization's strategic goals to tweak what I do. For example, you probably have cleaning that happens at certain times. Cleaners come in between 6:30 and 9 o'clock and they clean all the offices. But if I find that there is a department where they like to come in early, they do a lot of thinking, and they want to give a deep dive into their job, I don't want to have cleaners disturbing them. I customize their own and go to them and say, look, I see that you guys want to be productive between 7:30 and 9:30. Can we schedule my cleaners to be coming at 4 o'clock when you are winding down or when you are going home? That is the facility manager that is thinking above cleaning. You are thinking about organizational productivity. You're thinking about how the organization achieves its objectives, not just we clean. This is time for clean. Please give us space so that we can clean. Come on. Too many FMs are stuck in this. This is what we do. This is how we do it. They don't understand why they do it. And as such, cannot modify, control, adjust, amend, adapt to help the organization get the maximum benefits from the things you do. So when you see yourself in this state, all you are saying is, I spend money, I need more money. If in that use case I was just analyzing now, I can confirm that by shifting this cleaning schedule from this time to this time, I have given these guys 2 hours, productive hours, times 40 of them, for example, right? And this is the value of what they bring. I can use their cost to company, their earnings, I can use their productive results and say, this is how much this adjustment I've done that have helped to save them time and focus from distraction. Even if that adjustment now meant me increasing the cleaning contract by maybe extra 0.5% or 0.01 or whatever percentage to make that adjustment for me, I can link the two up. So I'm no longer communicating costs alone ever again. I'm now communicating cost and value because I understand this is valuable to the organization. My cost related to it become acceptable. And in fact, with this kind of thinking, your ability to use data analytics to guide strategic decision making will get you to the point where you'll be asked, how much more do you need? Is that going to be enough? Should we add more money to you from top? You're spending too much. Because you would have enhanced stakeholder value through sustainable and innovative solutions. You are now seen in the organization as a driver of long-term growth, not just operational costs. And when it comes to one of the key infrastructure that we manage, the electrical systems in our organization, you will find that it's from generation to distribution to where we need it. Energy is the core of life, and disruptions, fluctuations in energy by themselves are not only creating poor productivity, machine downtime, poor productivity from among people, AC not working, no power to power your laptop, and the rest, to abrupt disruptions and outright damage to equipment. Or in some cases, due to negligence, shocks that can even lead to more hazards to people. So we must think about this as a critical resource assets that we manage and put in more effective, more stringent controls and plans in place for it. Reduce damage to sensitive equipment, improve safety for users. Sometimes I go to some facilities and I see some real life danger lurking just there. Sometimes it's just a switch. And then right under the switch, you see one tiny red cable. It's just dangling there. I mean, nobody knows whether it's live or not, but it's just there. If it's energized, maybe nobody has touched it because we're all adults, but it's just there. You go to some panel rooms and you see junk all over the place, and that's where the technician will have to tiptoe and struggle to come and fix something. If he has a spark of some react, it's already obstructed. There are some assets that by themselves, they form what I call bottlenecks in the operations of your organization. Just the way you have a machine and one tiny aspect of that machine, maybe a belt or a small sensor, can just render it useless. So whether you're managing a hospital, a retail organization, there are some equipment that you need to identify and say, if this equipment is off or down for 10 minutes, what's the impact? In fact, you should do the maths. You should calculate how much your company makes in a year, divide it back to per minute, and say, if this equipment stops and production stops, for example, how much do we lose every minute? Many facility managers have not elevated their thinking to this level. They'll just send a report to the boss. So and so has failed. We are trying to fix it. We are expecting the vendor to come and check it, or we are waiting for parts. You just throw it out there, nothing definite, and then you are doing it like, yeah, it's okay. We'll get it done. We're all trying our best. But you see, if you can immediately, that system stops, ring in your mind that, oh, this is 17,000 per minute disruption. Okay. And if somebody is telling you, wait till tomorrow, you will not just say, okay, if that's the best you can do. No, you won't say that, because you are using 17,000 per minute to multiply 24 hours. And I'm saying, hold on. What other options are there? Can we fly it in today? Can we get a dispatch rider to bring it? Is it a case of check clearing in the bank? Can we use cash? All kinds of options pop up at that moment, because you, the FM, is at the heart, the core of your business. Understanding the implication of 1 minute delay. We are thinking straight. And that's why when you put up a proposal for solving a problem or for preventing a problem from happening, let's assume that little disruption we just talked about. could be prevented by a redundant or backup system that probably would cost, 5 million or 4 million, right? And somebody is trying to ask you, why do you want to spend money on putting up a backup power? We have generator, we have disco. So when there's no disco put on generator, why do you want to have a backup solar or an inverter? And you are trying to justify. Don't just say everybody does it or it was very important and start telling long stories. No, go back to data. In the last 1 year, we have had 14 instances of uh, the disco not being available and the gen not being able to come on immediately that have led to a cumulative lost time um, of 70 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, because you've used the data. And this is equivalent to so and so cost in losses. If we put this system in place that's going to cost us this much, we can prevent these whole losses for the foreseeable future, 5 years, 10 years. So I can do my maths and say, I want to spend 4 million on this new system, this initiative. In the last 2, 3 years, we have lost 6, 7 million based on the data. And this is going to prevent us from ever losing money again, 40 million, 50 million. Those are the kind of things that FMs are supposed to be doing. When your bosses read your analysis, you know what they do? They tend to just see you in different lights. You are now a business partner. You understand what is ringing in their head. You understand what is keeping them awake at night. You're no longer flippant or careless about things that, according to you, are beyond your control. You are involved, you're intentional. And by the way, if you want to elevate your career, elevate your life, elevate your professional standing in society, and you have not taken the FM Mastercraft diploma, you are missing out on a lot. The glimpses that you get during our session, during the lunch hour, is just to show the world a bit of the kind of content, the kind of practical exposure that the FM diploma gives. And by the time you start engaging with our alumni, you'll see how careers are flying. You see how strategic thinking is moving people from 2, 3, 4 times the salary they had 2, 3 years ago. Unimaginable progress, because it is only when you can change your mind, your kind of thinking, kind of analysis you make, kind of choice you make, that you can elevate your finances and you can contribute to any aspect of your life. Otherwise, you just be wasting yourself. So don't think about the costs if that is still what's in your mind right now. Take the bold move and change your careers right now. For facility management, when we stay and do repairs, something breaks, you repair, something breaks, you repair, which is what more than 90% of FMs call, those who call themselves FM, the ones that we call quacks, never been trained or certified, are doing. You don't know what you are losing out on. When inspections are scheduled, preventive maintenance are scheduled, are executed, reported, and data acquired for analysis, for decision making, you save a huge cost for your organization. And like I've said before, it's not just the cost of maintenance saved. The bigger cost is in the cost of prevented downtime, disruptions, sudden shocks that come from those disruptions that can create ripple effect of negative impacts. And the reliability that your operations and systems, gives to your customers, that's these people know what they are doing. It's something you cannot trade for anything. And then beyond preventive maintenance, there's also predictive maintenance. There will not be enough time to, dive into all of this, but there are tools for knowing, like a God, what's going to happen being able to envisage the next move on that machine because you are tracking its every condition using sensitive equipment, scheduling to ensure that things that should be done are done to clockwork. And like I talked about compliance, ensuring that all your building codes are in full compliance in your site. And what about safety? So I'll tell you a story about safety. Recently, Max-Migold team was on a project, in the Nigerian liquefied natural gas in Bonny. And while we're doing some of the work and regular everyday safety briefings and talks and documentations and data, and at some point it was almost looking like so much effort being spent on safety. The project manager, he told us, he said, you see all this happiness and smooth running we are doing and everything is going on well. If one mistake happens, if one incident occurs here that is significant enough to call for investigation, you see all this pressure to deliver, all these deadlines we are looking at, the company will suspend all of it. So productivity is put in the back burner immediately. A full-scale investigation will be run. And if the investigation takes 3 months, so be it. We must learn from it. We must recalibrate our minds, our systems, our processes, our equipment, our documentation to ensure that we know how to make sure it doesn't happen again. Of course, there will be penalties, there will be sanctions, there will be all kinds of corrective actions. But the bottom line is, you see that desperation to deliver, that customer is angry. I want to make sure that I can appease the customer and get things going. So I want to take a shortcut. Everything ends in that instance when something goes wrong. So please stop working based on luck. Because many people have not had fires, not have electrical shocks, not have people cutting themselves, not have people hitting themselves with stuff, does not mean that you have demonstrated enough control processes in your space. So safety drills, toolbox talks, inspections, PPs, adequate PPs, signages, barriers to hazards, lockout and tag out. There's so much in this space that when I go to sites, when I go to see how FMs work, sometimes I just stop the whole, stop. You're not doing anything anymore until you go and dress up properly, get properly kitted, come back and show me that you have identified the hazards and you have put measures in place to ensure these hazards will not materialize. Otherwise, all this, I'm going to get it done, I'm going to get it done so fast, can lead to a bigger problem that will lead to reputational loss, facility loss, injuries, and even loss of life that you don't want to be part of it. So this is one of the areas where FMs need to be conscious, because if you play with it, that organizational productivity will end. All that reputation of, think about it. I've seen some very fantastic schools. They have, A grades and everything. And then one news pops up of a child who probably died in sick bay or fell into the swimming pool and died, and there were no controls, and that just tanks the entire reputation. 20 years, 30 years, 40 years of building a fantastic institution can go down in 3 weeks because the FMs did not do proper audits, did not put proper controls in place, and somebody could walk right in and have an injury. Now to the gist of everything. You are doing so well, but you're not tracking anything. You don't have numbers. All you're doing well is in your head. That's what I call stagnation. That's not growth. That's not continuous improvement. You can't get better unless you know how you are doing now, how you were doing before, and what you should be doing going forward. All of these have to be tracked, recorded, trended with numbers we call metrics. Examples of metrics: downtime, something stops, you did something to get it back, did you record? Incident rates, minor incidents like electrical faults, minor safety incidents, do you record them? Do you count them? Do you have a tracking document? Meantime between failures, something fails, you fix, it fails again, you fix, it fails again, you fix. The meantime, how often does it break? Repair time, meantime to repair. When you send somebody to go and fix this, do you track how many minutes it takes to fix it? Because if you are saving that, it helps you to get important data to analyze situations where you want to justify a certain innovation or system that will remove that required fix. And then trending this historical data. Okay, and then when you have this data, you keep using that to do root cause analysis. There are reasons things work, and there are reasons they don't work correctly. You must be able to trend and track them. So that's, and then of course, there's the technology aspect of it. That's where I'm going to stop in today's session. You can see that it's really loaded, and I will want to just encourage you to spend time joining us on a weekly basis. Take advantage of these sessions, and the links, you can share the links with your friends, team members in our YouTube channel. Once you go to our YouTube channel, you'll get access to all of this, so you can always refresh yourself and improve. Thank you everyone for being with us today, and I look forward to another session with you next week. Bye-bye.